Chapter 1386, Wu Yong's Arrival. Chapter 1386, Wu Yong's Arrival. Strong winds blew past. Below, luxuriant mountains steadily moved towards the rear like an endless herd of elephants. Feng Yuan and the group of Gu immortals, on the back of the upper extreme heavenly eagle, had no mood to enjoy this grand scene of rivers and mountains. They were in a perilous situation. The entirety of Southern Border's righteous path Gu immortals were trying to get them. There might even be lone immortals and demonic cultivators waiting to see if they could reap some benefits. They were unable to fight Southern Border's righteous path. Any rank 8 Gu immortal or immortal Gu house meant enormous trouble and danger to Feng Yuan and the rest. However, besides this, the most worrying thing was Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court had left after taking away the Super Gu formation. Although Feng Yuan and the rest were not aware, the reason for this was for Duke Long to suppress Spectral Soul's main body. But even after leaving, Heavenly Court's influence still remained, and their intention to eliminate Feng Yuan and the rest had not disappeared. Instead, it was getting even more intense. Feng Yuan's speculation was unitedly approved by He Lu Lan, by Ning Bing, and the others. If they were in Heavenly Court's position, they would also not let go of Feng Yuan and the group. Aside from leaking information to Southern Border's righteous path Gu immortals to make use of them, Heavenly Court would definitely have left some hidden cards to make sure nothing went wrong. However, their hidden cards were currently unknown, and the unknown creates pressure in people's minds. Heavenly Court's hidden cards were like an executioner's blade hanging above everyone's head, who knew when they would suddenly slash down. Even if Feng Yuan and the rest escaped to Western Desert, Heavenly Court's hidden cards might follow behind them. Heavens will can actually infiltrate externally manifested dream realms. By exploring the dream realms, I was simply exposing my secrets. I was still constantly maintaining dark limit and familiar face to disguise myself, thinking I was deceiving Heaven's will. This was my biggest problem in this battle of the dream realm. Feng Yuan was standing on the eagle's back. Reverse flow protection seal had already been deactivated, as maintaining it was very costly. Currently, Feng Yuan was using all kinds of investigative methods, including 3 breaths future vision. While inspecting his surroundings, he reflected on himself, finding his mistakes and errors that err is human. Making mistakes was a normal thing. Even rank 9 venerables made many mistakes in their lives. One's vision was limited, being trapped in their nature, encumbered by their environment, and other various reasons made it such that no one could make the best decisions all throughout their lives. After making a mistake, realizing the mistake and correcting it was the behavior of an outstanding person. If Feng Yuan had known this information earlier, he would absolutely not have casually explored the dream realms. Now that he recalled, Feng Yuan found many arrangements of Heaven's will. For instance, his gains in the giant dream realm were Grandmaster attainment level and water path, formation path, and dark path. However, what Feng Yuan needed the most was an increase in the attainment level of information path and time path. If his information path attainment level rose, even if he did not have information path immortal Gu, he could gradually solve his problems. His time path attainment had all along remained at ordinary level. If it rose and was combined with He Fan's true inheritance, Feng Yuan's battle strength could definitely rise sharply. Even if it were not information path or time path, it would be very helpful if his attainment level in sword path, refinement path, luck path, or soul path reached Grandmaster, especially sword path. Feng Yuan currently had several sword path immortal Gu, and also had Bo Qing's true inheritance. If his sword path reached Grandmaster level, his battle strength would soar madly. Unfortunately, none of them appeared. At the latter stage of exploring the dream realm, I only encountered absurd dream realms. Heaven's will invaded the dream realms and controlled their rotation. It probably did not want me to progress anymore. In my memories of the 500 years of my first life, there was not any mention of dream realms being contaminated by Heaven's will. Maybe this was a secret no one had discovered yet in Feng Yuan's first life. But even more probable was that when Feng Yuan used Spring-Autumn Cicada to rebirth, his will was tampered with by Heaven's will so that he forgot this information. I have lost Dark Limit Immortal Gu. Right now, the others and I are exposed to Heaven's will. Fortunately, since the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle is extremely fast, Heaven's will does not have much time to make specific arrangements. Southern border righteous path, heavenly court, and heaven's will. These three were pursuing, encircling, and intercepting as they tried to take Feng Yuan's life. However, Feng Yuan was not panicking. He meticulously planned and prepared as to how he could protect his life under this situation. In fact, after the destruction of 88 True Yang building, Feng Yuan had been pondering over this matter. He had ample mental preparation. Being exposed now was far better than if he were exposed before. Because Feng Yuan had many hidden cards to deal with the situation. It depended on how he used them. Currently, he was using wisdom path methods. Thoughts were emerging and colliding in his mind. He continuously played out various situations, how to resolve them, and how to protect himself while expending the least resources. An immortal goo house is flying over from the southeast side. Bai Ningbing suddenly warned. She had inherited Bai Xiang's true inheritance. Her long-distance investigative methods were much more suitable for this situation than Feng Yuan's 3 breaths future vision. Shortly afterwards, Fairy Miao Yin's expression changed as well. I also see it. This is Ho Clan's Flying Sand Pavilion. She had a greater understanding of southern borders details, immediately recognizing the immortal goo house. Fairy Miao Yin immediately added in shock. They are so fast. Flying Sand Pavilion was one of the fastest immortal goo houses in southern border. It was even faster than the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle if Feng Yuan and the rest relied solely on the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle to escape. Flying Sand Pavilion would catch up to them sooner or later. However, Feng Yuan had already planned ahead and expected such a situation. So he had practiced the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel with the others. Although it had been disrupted by Chi Chu Yu's Gu formation, it was only a small setback. Right now, they had all gathered together and could use this method again. Flying Sand Pavilion was rushing between the mountains. This was its unique method. It could use Earth Path Dao marks to reduce the immortal essence expenditure and increase its speed. Undoubtedly, in southern border which was filled with mountains and forests, Earth Path Dao marks were extremely dense. Flying Sand Pavilion was like a fish in water. While moving at full speed, Flying Sand Pavilion was like rumbling sand. Yellow-brown sand was constantly moving inside, while dust clouds surged on the outside. The Gu Immortals inside were not just from Ho Clan. There was also a rank 8 Gu Immortal, Shang Wujie. Shang Clan was among the top super forces in southern border. It naturally had a rank 8 Gu Immortal. Shang Clan's first supreme elder Shang Wujie had all along maintained the tradition of neutrality in Shang Clan, and had good relations with all clans. If it were Yao Clan, Luo Clan, or even Tai Clan, Ho Clan Gu Immortals would absolutely not have given them face and invited them into Flying Sand Pavilion. Suddenly, Shang Wujie's expression shifted slightly as Feng Yuan and the rest suddenly disappeared from his perception. They used that ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel? Shang Wujie's mind jolted before a map of southern border appeared in his mind. After combining various information, Shang Wujie soon deduced several areas where Feng Yuan and the rest were most likely to appear, and these areas all had southern border righteous path Gu Immortals. Wu Yang's plan is not bad, Shang Wujie lightly remarked, but suddenly his brows furrowed as he realized that according to this layout, Feng Yuan and the rest would eventually be chased to the northwest of southern border, and over there, Wu Yang was already lying in wait. Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building speed could be ranked as number 1 among the current southern border's immortal Gu houses. However, Wu Yong had used an immortal Gu house of Tai Clan, Beacon Tower, to travel there. This immortal Gu house was made of beacon towers scattered all over southern border, and it was by using this mystical immortal Gu house that southern border's righteous path were able to quickly spread a large net. Feng Yuan and the rest were like large fish covered by this net. Swoosh. Under the sunny sky, Gu Immortals suddenly appeared. They were Feng Yuan and the rest, who had teleported using omnidirectional travel. This is already the 5th time. A lot of my Dao marks have been consumed. This is not looking good. The enemy knows our position and has been encircling, pursuing, and intercepting us, like they have laid out a large net and are now rapidly tightening it. Should we change our direction and catch them off guard? Bai Ningbing and the rest were discussing. Feng Yuan shook his head. The investigative killer move on us is the root cause. They will catch up to us sooner or later if we don't remove it. The current plan is to strive for every second and rush out of this net to Western Desert. They could go to Western Desert. Heavenly Court would not be able to easily mobilize Western Desert's righteous path to hunt Feng Yuan and the rest. Go. Feng Yuan let out the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle and ordered it to fly away. The true ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel could cross a very large distance. Unfortunately, Ing Wuxie's method was not the complete version, and in the series of battles, the core immortal goo of omnidirectional travel were destroyed. What Feng Yuan and the rest were currently using was actually an incomplete omnidirectional travel. This incomplete omnidirectional travel not only had a shorter teleportation range, even worse was that it spent down marks of the goo immortals, shadow sect remnants. Where do you think you are going? After flying for a distance on the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, Feng Yuan and the rest suddenly heard Wu Yong's voice. What? Fairy Miao Yin immediately paled. Don't be afraid. This is just Wind Whisper Immortal Goo. Feng Yuan snorted and reassured. Wind Whisper Immortal Goo had an extremely large range. As long as it was activated continuously without caring for immortal essence expenditure, it could theoretically cover the whole of southern border. But soon, clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building appeared in the horizon. This rank 8 Immortal Goo house was alarmingly fast. Even though the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was an immemorial desolate beast with first-rate flying speed, the distance between Feng Yuan and Wu Yong was rapidly shrinking. Use omnidirectional travel. Feng Yuan instantly knew this was bad. Although they were still far away, he firmly chose to activate the ancient battle formation. Facing a rank 8 Goo immortal, he would not feel safe even if they were farther away. The upper extreme Heavenly Eagle was stored away. Omnidirectional travel was activated successfully. The 4 Goo immortals suddenly disappeared from the spot. However, when Feng Yuan and the rest appeared again, their expressions were extremely unsightly. What's going on? We only teleported such a small distance? It is not even 10% of the previous distance. Wu Yong's voice resonated in the immortals' ears once again. You are trapped in my airlock. Omnidirectional travel will not work anymore. The voice had just been heard when clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building appeared in the horizon once again. The Shadow Sect immortals felt an enormous rock pressing down on them. An unprecedented danger was hanging above their heads. Rank 8 Goo Immortal Wu Yong, together with Rank 8 Immortal Goo House, Clear Jade, Dripping Wind, Tiny Bamboo Building. Chapter 1387, Heavenly Eagle's Escape. Chapter 1387, Heavenly Eagle's Escape, Airlock. When were we hit by this killer move? I didn't feel anything at all. Shadow Sect's immortals were all taken aback. They were not aware when this killer move had struck them. If it were not for the subpar result of omnidirectional travel and the facts in front of their eyes, they would have thought Wu Yong was bluffing. Never underestimate a rank 8 Goo immortal's methods. That Wu Yong did not have high seniority. His seniority was even lower than most other rank 8 Goo immortals in southern border, but he was well-learned and talented, and having inherited Wu Duxiu's legacy, he had plenty of available methods. Feng Yuan frowned deeply. How does this killer move, air lock work? How long does it last? How can I find out flaws of this move and target them? His mind was rumbling like the sea as thoughts surged like huge waves. These questions perplexed him. More importantly, he had to resolve them quickly as it concerned his life. Clear jade, dripping wind, tiny bamboo building continued to approach closer. Wu Yong's laughter could be heard. He clearly would not give Feng Yuan enough time to think. The situation was extremely pressing. Feng Yuan needed to make a decision immediately. He thought for a moment and immediately sent his order. All of you enter my immortal aperture. Why? You are all too weak. You will just be sending yourselves to death by trying to fight a rank 8 Goo immortal. It is better for you all to enter my immortal aperture and research airlock. Try to find a method to restrain it as quickly as possible. Feng Yuan spoke bluntly and opened the entrance to his immortal aperture. The immortals looked at each other, but quickly, He Lu Lan was the first to enter. If she did not need to send herself to death, it naturally was a good thing. He Lu Lan had been worried Feng Yuan would use the alliance agreement on her to send her to face Wu Yong and sacrifice herself, so Feng Yuan could get some time to escape for his life. But unexpectedly, Fang Yuan did not do so. Fairy Miao Yin and Black Tigress hesitated for a moment before following in. They had made their accomplishments because of Purple Mountain True Monarch's true inheritances and were now Shadow Sect's members. However, the main reason for them accepting Fang Yuan's order was because Fang Yuan was Shadow Sect's leader. On the contrary, Bai Ningbing remained behind. She naturally was not concerned about Fang Yuan. Instead, her gaze turned towards Wu Yong and carried an expression of eagerness to fight him. Bai Ningbing chased after excitement in life. It was like Fang Yuan chasing after eternal life. This feeling burned like fire and could even be said to be madness. Don't be foolish. Even if you have Bai Xiang form, Wu Yong could easily kill you in an instant. Fang Yuan's tone was impatient. Bai Ningbing snorted, but still entered the sovereign immortal aperture in the end. Fang Yuan quickly closed the entrance, then commanded the upper extreme heavenly eagle to fly quickly. Wu Yong's sigh came from behind. Fang Yuan, you are also an outstanding genius. You were actually able to hide in my Wu clan for so long under Wu Yihai's disguise. You are truly a daring person who will make great achievements. It is a pity. It would have been great if you really were Wu Yihai. Wu Yong's sigh was sincere. He really cherished talented individuals. Fang Yuan was fleeing ahead while Wu Yong was chasing from behind. The immemorial desolate beast upper extreme heavenly eagle erupted with an extremely fast speed under such a desperate situation. However, Clear Jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building was still faster than it. After all, it was a rank 8 immortal goo house. Clear Jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building had another huge advantage. Immortal goo houses would not get tired as long as there was enough immortal essence. An immortal goo house could maintain a stable condition for eternity. However, the upper extreme heavenly eagle was different. It would get tired and fatigued after flying for a long time. However, Fang Yuan did not even consider this point, because, according to the current speed of the two, long before the upper extreme heavenly eagle gets tired, Clear Jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building would catch up. Who else did you bring? Bring them all out. Fang Yuan turned towards Wu Yong. All kinds of goo worm auras quickly rose from his body and lingered around him. Relax, I came alone. Wu Yong smiled as he activated the immortal goo house. The verdant bamboo leaves on Clear Jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building turned into arrows as they shot towards Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan controlled the upper extreme heavenly eagle to swerve up and down, continuously flying in the air while adeptly dodging the arrows. Not bad. You have a solid foundation in flying. This enslavement path skill is even more amazing. Wu Yong did not stint on his praise. Fang Yuan realized something wrong. Light wind was lingering around his body. It could not be detected at first, but it was growing larger now. Not only him. Even the upper extreme heavenly eagle's wings were entangled by 2 lumps of blue wind, greatly affecting its flying speed. Wu Yong's constant attacks are forcing me to dodge and change directions rapidly. Although the upper extreme heavenly eagle's speed has not decreased, Clear Jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building is moving in a straight line. There is also this air lump on me. It is probably the killer move airlock. It can actually absorb the scattered winds to increase its power. Wu Yong's attacks were not able to touch Fang Yuan, but had still achieved his objective. The distance between the two sides was rapidly shrinking. You still haven't found a way to break it? Fang Yuan questioned Shadow Sect members inside his immortal aperture. Difficult. There is only a little progress. This is clearly a rank 8 killer move. It is no trivial matter. Nothing but words. Fang Yuan inwardly clenched his teeth. He heard Wu Yong's voice. You must be thinking of how to break my killer move, right? No harm in telling you. Once this move is set up, it cannot be shifted, but its range is quite large and can cover all the surrounding 100,000 li. It also has a time limit. As of now, it can still last for 8 minutes. Wu Yong spoke honestly. Fang Yuan's heart sank at this information. Wu Yong's behavior clearly showed his strong self-confidence. He already felt Fang Yuan was in the palm of his hands, unable to escape. Clear Jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building continued to attack endlessly. Finally catching up, Wu Yong gave a slight smile as he lightly flicked his index finger towards Fang Yuan from the second-floor window of the bamboo building. Immortal killer move. Fingerwind Dragon. A crisp sound echoed. A dark jade worm flew out of his fingertips. The small worm shot at Fang Yuan with an extreme speed. While flying, it grew larger. As its body expanded to 10 feet, 50 feet, 150 feet, after a few breaths of time, it turned into a vicious wind dragon that was 220 feet long, baring its fangs and claws as it fiercely collided against the upper extreme heavenly eagle. The upper extreme heavenly eagle was not able to react in time, and just as it was about to be struck by the fingerwind dragon, Fang Yuan walked forward and actually took the initiative to collide against the fingerwind dragon. Wu Yong felt astonishment that quickly turned into shock, because after the fingerwind dragon collided against Fang Yuan, it actually did no damage, and even more bizarre was that it turned its direction and flew back, lashing at him. Its owner. Boom! There was a huge sound as the fingerwind dragon collided against clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. The immortal goo house shook intensely, its speed immediately decreasing by more than half, and the fingerwind dragon had completely crumbled. Fang Yuan took the chance to get back on the upper extreme heavenly eagle and pull apart a large distance. Wu Yong saw Fang Yuan wearing a long robe, with a sash floating in the wind, while giving off an ethereal and majestic aura. Wu Yong's astonishment immediately reached an extreme level. This killer move, could it be? Wu Yong blurted out. Although he had not personally taken part in the Battle of Reverse Flow River in Northern Plains, the information of this battle as well as Lu Guanyi's name had become famous in the 5 regions. Wu Yong recognized this killer move. It was Reverse Flow Protection Seal. This meant he now knew the secret that Fang Yuan was Lu Guanyi and Lu Guanyi was Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan saw Wu Yong's surprise and inwardly thought, "It seems Heavenly Court did not inform Wu Yong of my Lu Guanyi identity. Or maybe Heavenly Court was still not aware of it." Fang Yuan felt a slight pity. His Lu Guanyi identity was exposed now and could no longer be used. This would affect his connections in Northern Plains. However, there was nothing he could have done about this. Facing a rank 8 great expert, Fang Yuan could only maintain his footing by using Reverse Flow Protection Seal. If he used other methods, he would be easily killed by Wu Yong. Although Wu Yong suffered a setback, his gaze towards Fang Yuan became incomparably fiery. Fang Yuan not only was Wu Yi High with Shadow Sect as his background, he also possessed Reverse Flow River and Reverse Flow Protection Seal. As long as he was captured, his accumulations and wealth could absolutely elevate Wu Clan's strength to a whole new level. This enormous profit moved Wu Yong. Moreover, Fang Yuan was also the greatest humiliation to Wu Clan over these years. Good. All my plans in mobilizing the entire righteous path to create this situation where I could fight you alone were not a waste. Wu Yong mumbled while controlling the immortal goo house to bombard at Fang Yuan and give chase. The effect of airlock on Fang Yuan had been reflected back to Wu Yong, but the upper extreme heavenly eagle was still plagued by it. While Wu Yong was inside clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building and was simply not affected at this moment, Wu Yong controlled the immortal goo house to collide against the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Fang Yuan heaved a sigh as he moved forward to block the immortal goo house. Wu Yong chuckled and flew out of the immortal goo house to face Fang Yuan. At the same time, immortal goo house clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building targeted the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Although Wu Yong was not inside clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building, he had left his will behind along with large amounts of immortal essence. The upper extreme heavenly eagle quickly fell into a disadvantage against clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. Fang Yuan's situation was even worse. He thoroughly experienced the power of a rank 8 Gu immortal. He was only able to react passively against Wu Yong's attacks and had no way to fight back. After 10 or so rounds, Wu Yong thoroughly experienced Fang Yuan's powerful defense. He got a headache dealing with Reverse Flow Protection Seal, as any attacks at Fang Yuan would only be reflected back. Even punching and kicking. Wu Yong's gaze then landed on the upper extreme heavenly eagle. This immemorial desolate beast was the critical point of this battle. Realizing this, Wu Yong split some attention to firmly suppress Fang Yuan, then used his immortal killer move to bombard the upper extreme heavenly eagle. The upper extreme heavenly eagle wailed in pain. It hadn't Astonishing speed, but how could its master let it easily escape when he himself was trapped here? But an immemorial desolate beast had a tough physique. The upper extreme heavenly eagle was still alive and healthy even after taking on Wu Yong's attacks. Not good. But at this moment, Feng Yuan's expression suddenly changed, facing a powerful enemy. The upper extreme heavenly eagle's original will had been gradually taking control and was trying to flee for its life. Right at this moment, this will reached a qualitative change and broke free from the restraints of Feng Yuan's 180 slaves. It immediately shook its wings and escaped. Feng Yuan was thrown aside and now had to face Wu Yong and clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building by himself. You still haven't made any progress? Feng Yuan called in an urgent tone towards the shadow sect immortals inside his immortal aperture. How can we have any results in such a short time? Bai Ningbing and the rest were also in low spirits. Wu Yong charged forward. With me here, don't even think of letting them out and using omnidirectional travel. Sure enough, in the following battle, he gave Feng Yuan no chance. After several more rounds, Wu Yong suddenly spread his arms, activating an immortal killer move which he had been preparing for a long time. Feng Yuan's vision suddenly changed. He was trapped in a strange battlefield and was unable to escape. If you give yourself up and offer all your cultivation accumulations, I can still spare your life, Feng Yuan. Wu Yong gave his ultimatum. Feng Yuan's expression was ashen. This was truly a hopeless situation. His only hope now was for Bai Ningbing and the rest to be able to find an opportunity to use omnidirectional travel and escape this battlefield. But, just as Wu Yong was about to make a move, his expression changed slightly as he looked at a certain direction. Who is it? Come out. A sigh was heard, following which, a Gu immortal who was brimming with central continent aura appeared. Both Feng Yuan and Wu Yong were surprised at the sight of this person. You are? Feng Jiugu. Chapter 1388. This is Feng Jiugu. A middle-aged Gu immortal appeared in front of Feng Yuan and Wu Yong. This person was dressed in a red and white robe, standing straight like a spear or sword. His eyebrows were sharp like swords, mysterious light was flashing in his eyes, a gentle smile was on his face, and there was an elegant and invincible aura in him. But at this moment, his expression carried a trace of melancholy. He was a central continent Gu immortal whose name was spread throughout the 5 regions, a pillar of spirit affinity house, a sound path rank 7 who could battle rank 8. He was Feng Jiugu. Why was he here? Wu Yong and Feng Yuan were surprised and astonished. Feng Jiugu's appearance and achievements had long spread throughout the 5 regions. Thus, although Wu Yong was seeing Feng Jiugu for the first time, he quickly recognized him. After all, a rank 7 Gu immortal who could fight rank 8 was a peerless genius that was rarely seen even once in 1,000 years. Were it not for Feng Yuan's other identity, Lu Guanyi, Feng Jiugu would probably still be the only one to hold this achievement. Wu Yong quickly restrained his surprise and sneered at Feng Jiugu. A central continent Gu immortal actually dares to appear in front of me. Good. In the Battle of the Dream Realm, Heavenly Court reaped the most benefits, taking away many immortal Gu from Southern Border's righteous path. Right now, Feng Jiugu was being implicated by this matter and provoked Wu Yong's hostility. Feng Yuan's gaze also focused on Feng Jiugu. This was not his first time seeing Feng Jiugu. In his first life of 500 years, Feng Jiugu's appearance had already been imprinted in the depths of his heart. The radiance Feng Jiugu emitted in the 5 regions' chaotic war had even surpassed ordinary rank 8 Gu immortals. Unfortunately, he died in Langya Blessed Land. His death had led to a great disturbance, shaking Central Continent, while the other 4 regions danced in joy. Even after being reborn, Feng Yuan had seen Feng Jiugu as well. It was in that strange space inside the thieving Heaven True Inheritance in Luopa Valley. Under some strange combination of coincidences, Feng Yuan had saved Feng Jiugu. Originally, he would have perished inside the thieving Heaven True Inheritance's strange space because of Qin Baishang's suicidal attack. But it all changed after Feng Yuan's rebirth. Although Feng Yuan had done it completely unintentionally, he was indeed Feng Jiugu's savior. But so what if he saved Feng Jiugu's life? In this world, how many times had kindness been reciprocated with ingratitude? Feng Yuan fixed his gaze on Feng Jiuge. He did not dare to relax as he shouted coldly. Feng Jiuge, you are the person Heavenly Court arranged to ambush me? Feng Jiuge glanced at Wu Yong before fixing his gaze at Feng Yuan. Seeing Feng Yuan again, moreover in such a situation, made Feng Jiuge sigh inwardly. Feng Yuan's progress was too fast. The first time Feng Jiuge knew of Feng Yuan, the latter had seized Feng Jinhuang's opportunity and became the new owner of Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Because of his daughter, Feng Jiuge knew of Feng Yuan's name. But he was not even in the least bit concerned. The reason? Because back then, Feng Yuan was only a mere mortal. The difference between an immortal and immortal was like the difference between heaven and earth, the difference between cloud and mud. They were not even at the same level. It could even be said to be the mortal Feng Yuan's greatest glory for being able to attract a trace of attention from the Grand Gu immortal Feng Jiuge. However, the development of later events went far beyond Feng Jiuge's expectations. Feng Yuan continued to be involved in major events, repeatedly bringing calamity to the world. His identity was exposed, an otherworldly demon who was the owner of Spring-Autumn Cicada, inheritor of Giant Sun's true inheritance, and so on. The whole world was shocked. Especially when Feng Yuan's progress was extremely fast. He rapidly ascended from a mortal to an immortal, and then to an expert among Gu immortals. Everything happened in a flash. Many Gu immortals could not have such accomplishments even after putting in effort for countless years. But Feng Yuan seemed to have easily achieved this. The first time they truly met, Feng Jiuge was actually saved by Feng Yuan. Feng Yuan smoothly inherited one of the thieving heaven true inheritances, ghostly concealment. Then in the Battle of Etian Mountain, Feng Yuan played a huge role. I did not expect Lu Guan to be Feng Yuan. The great era is coming. Heroes and experts are emerging, and Feng Yuan is currently the one who is shining the brightest. Feng Jiuge sized up Feng Yuan while thinking to himself at the same time. He had a wry smile on his face. I hurried over from Central Continent to pursue an immortal Gu that thieving heaven demon Venerable had once used, but unintentionally ran into this matter. Is he saying he is not the person arranged by Heavenly Court? Feng Yuan frowned. Based on Feng Jiuge's nature and way of doing things, he would not deceive Feng Yuan at such a juncture. Wu Yong, however, sneered in disbelief. Who could have thought Feng Jiuge to have a hypocritical side as well? When I activated the battlefield killer move, you could have easily left if you did not want to participate in this matter. Feng Jiuge nodded. Right. I entered of my own accord. It is because I owe my life to Feng Yuan. It would not matter if I had not come across this. But since I ran across this matter, I have to help him. What? Wu Yong was astonished. Feng Yuan was also dumbstruck that Wu Yong asked back in an incredulous tone. I didn't hear wrongly? You owe him your life, so you want to help him? Ha ha. Wu Yong started laughing. Feng Jiuge was a Central Continent Gu immortal, a person from the 10 great ancient sects. Everyone believed he would definitely become a member of Heavenly Court in the future. He was actually going to save Feng Yuan. Who was Feng Yuan? An otherworldly demon, a demon listed at the top of the demon judgment board. Feng Jiuge actually wanted to save him. This was simply a huge joke that Wu Yong laughed. But not only him. Even the smile on Feng Jiuge's lips started becoming bigger. Wu Yong looked at Feng Jiuge's smile. His laughter gradually stopped, slowly replaced by solemnness that he knew. Feng Jiuge was serious. This person was simply a lunatic. A righteous path Gu immortal wanted to help a demon. Feng Jiuge was not just an ordinary righteous path Gu immortal. He was a huge star of the righteous path. Despite having only rank 7 cultivation, he was treated as a quasi-rank 8 expert by the world. His reputation in Central Continent and in the 5 regions was extremely huge, and Feng Yuan was similarly not an ordinary demonic character. Over these last years, he held the biggest spotlight in the whole world. He was a complete otherworldly demon, possessing Spring-Autumn Cicada, Reverse Flow River, Giant Sun's true inheritance, thieving heaven's true inheritance. In Central Continent, he had seized Hu Immortal Blessed Land under the noses of the 10 great ancient sections. In Northern Plains, he had destroyed 88 true Yang building. He then went to Southern Border and thwarted Spectral Soul's heaven-defying plan and seized the fruits of victory. And recently, He had successfully infiltrated Wu clan, and after the Battle of the Dream Realm, he became the leader of Shadow Sect. Feng Jiuge wanted to help a person like Feng Yuan. Wu Yong was a righteous path Gu immortal. He tried putting himself in Feng Jiuji's shoes, even if Feng Yuan saved his life. How much pressure would he face if he helped Feng Yuan? This pressure did not only come from his faction, it came from his family, his sect, heavenly court, and even all the Gu immortals in the world. No, Feng Jiuge is different from me. He is not born of the righteous path, and was once a demonic path Gu immortal. Wu Yong suddenly recalled. Demons are truly insane. They cannot be reasoned with. Wu Yong raged inwardly. Feng Yuan thought of Feng Jiuji's past. Feng Jiuge had been an unremarkable secluded cultivator with no fame in his early years. He cultivated sound path and committed to it his entire life. One time, he sang loudly in a nameless valley, which attracted two other Gu immortals to sing in chorus. Back then, it was nighttime with the moon hanging high and light wind blowing gently, causing ripples in a glittering lake in the valley. As the three Gu immortals sang in harmony. Time flew by rapidly, and they had sung till dawn. The three stopped singing and started laughing. They did not greet each other, but left full of joy. Only after a few years did Feng Jiuge learn of these two's names and origins. At that time, there was news in Central Continent's Gu immortal world that these two were demonic Gu immortals who had seized a rank 7 immortal Gu from Black Heaven Temple, and were hunted down by the allied forces of the 10 great ancient sections. Feng Jiuge immediately set off to help them. Those two Gu immortals were at a dead end, opposed by the masses, so when they saw Feng Jiuge coming to aid them, they were both moved and surprised, asking Feng Jiuge why he did this. Feng Jiuge had replied, "A few years back, we sang together. I sang about the bright moon, while you sang about the verdant mountain and a white lake. The clear moon and gentle breeze showed your human hearts. How could those capable of singing such a song be petty people who covet others' immortal Gu? I trust you too." The two were so touched their tears started flowing down. One of them spoke. "You understand us. We had inherited this rank 7 immortal Gu from a true inheritance. But how could we have imagined Black Heaven Temple to falsely accuse us? Black Heaven Temple is one of the 10 great ancient sects. Whatever it says, others believe them." The other persuaded Feng Jiuge. "We have only sang one song together. We are complete strangers. The two of us are in great danger and have no hope left. It is still not too late for you to leave." Feng Jiuge, however, shook his head and insisted on helping them. The two immortals said worriedly, "If you do not leave, you will also be branded as a demon." Feng Jiuge laughed. "Neither demonic nor righteous. There is only Feng Jiuge in this world. To leave or to stay, I decide my own life and death." The two immortals were moved and teared up in admiration. Feng Jiuji's poems were not famous back then, but as he repeatedly forced back Black Heaven Temple's Gu immortals and was victorious time and again, the matter soon got out of hand. When the other 9 ancient sects heard of the matter, they expressed support for Black Heaven Temple and created the huge pressure of public opinion. As a result, Feng Jiuge proclaimed that he would challenge Central Continent's champions as he traveled the world. The 10 sects sent their experts to challenge Feng Jiuge in single battles, but were all defeated. Feng Jiuge was not afraid, fighting as he continuously traveled a huge distance, suddenly changing his tactic and going for the enemy headquarters, causing the 10 sects to lose miserably. The scene was total chaos, and there was nothing anyone could do. Finally, Spirit Affinity House made their move. The fairy of that generation, Fairy Bai Qing, moved Feng Jiuge with love and turned him into a member of Spirit Affinity House. Back then, Feng Jiuge could put himself on the line to save 2 complete strangers who had only sung a song with him, becoming labeled as a demon as a result. Now, why would Feng Jiuge not help the demon Feng Yuan, especially when Feng Yuan had saved his life? Feng Jiuge was still the same person, be it in the past or present. Feng Yuan suddenly realized the meaning behind Feng Jiuji's earlier side. Feng Jiuge had already wanted to help Feng Yuan, but he thought of his wife and daughter as well as his situation. He was probably intending to help secretly, but unfortunately, his presence was sensed by Wu Yong. Feng Jiuge had to make a choice after that, and just like what he did back then, he made a similar choice. neither demonic nor righteous. There is only Feng Jiuge in this world that to leave or to stay. I decide my own life and death. Demonic path or righteous path. These two factions and identities could not restrain Feng Jiuge to leave or to stay. As far as Feng Jiuge was concerned, if he left, his heart would not be free. Only by remaining would his heart be at ease. His actions simply came from his inner heart. I am always me. I am Feng Jiuge. For all eternity. Chapter 1389. Feng and Feng versus Wu Yong. Ha ha ha. Wu Yong suddenly started laughing loudly. His laughter was filled with anger. He was obviously angry at Feng Jiuge for wanting to help Feng Yuan. Good. Good. Both of you are only rank 7 Gu immortals, but have rank 8 battle strength. Let me experience what level of strength you two have. A rank 8 Gu immortal's pride and confidence made the killing intent inside Wu Yong flourish and intensify. He was absolutely confident of his victory. What if it was 1 against 2? He, Wu Yong, was a rank 8 Gu immortal, while his opponents were only rank 7. That how could the gulf between rank 7 and rank 8 be so easy to bridge, let alone when he had an immortal Gu house with him? Clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building. A rank 8 immortal Gu house. A rank 8 Gu immortal with a rank 8 immortal Gu house. How could he lose? Wu Yong could not think of any way he would lose. The battle started again. The atmosphere immediately tensed. Feng Jiuge slowly moved towards Wu Yong, while saying to Feng Yuan without turning his head, "You once saved my life. Now I am saving yours. The favor has been repaid. You should leave. Whether you can break through and get out of here alive will depend on yourself." Feng Yuan was surprised at by the looks of it. Feng Jiuge was not going to fight together with him, and was instead going to fight Wu Yong by himself. Okay. Feng Yuan immediately retreated to a corner. Who was he? How could he forego such a chance? Seeing that Feng Jiuge was facing him alone, Wu Yong felt a trace of admiration inwardly and spoke. All right, let me experience the power of the famous Central Continent genius. He then stored the immortal Gu house clear jade dripping wind tiny bamboo building back into his immortal aperture. This rank 8 immortal Gu house was his trump card. It was constructed with multiple rank 8 immortal Gu. Naturally, it consumed an enormous amount of immortal essence. Wu Yong had already activated it for a long time to set up the situation and chase Feng Yuan. Now, Wu Yong stored it was like a sheathed divine sword. The enemy would never know when Wu Yong would activate this trump card, and would always feel apprehension and pressured at the same time. This also showed Wu Yong's self-confidence and pride. He wanted to fight Feng Jiuge fairly. Battle intent soared as both sides readied themselves. Fierce wind suddenly blew around Wu Yong before subsiding. Rapidly, Feng Jiuge and Feng Yuan both watched with focused gazes. This was a sign of Wu Yong activating his immortal killer move. It was extremely fast. Moreover, the aura before activation had been concealed to an extreme degree, be it Feng Jiuge or Feng Yuan. Both were unable to sense it. Feng Jiuge quickly retreated, cautiously pulling apart some distance from Wu Yong. How could he dare to be conceited against a rank 8 Gu immortal? Especially against an immortal killer move which was completely unknown. Facing it head-on was absolutely reckless. The fierce wind subsided, turning into gentle breeze, which then rotated endlessly, transforming into enormous figures in a blink of an eye. They were shaped like humans, but were tall like elephants, with bulging muscles like piles of stones. Their whole bodies were bluish-black, sharp fangs protruded out of their mouths, and they had a pair of thick monstrous arms that drooped down to their feet. Their eyes were completely black, and green hair grew all over their bodies. Immortal killer move, soft Vajra Wind Chief. Wu Yong created 6 Wind Chiefs at once. Some of the Wind Chiefs were shouting, producing loud wheezing noises, while some screamed with an almost ear-piercing pitch. They divided into 2 groups, with each group having 3 Wind Chiefs. One group charged at Feng Jiuge, while the other chased after Feng Yuan. Feng Jiuge wanted to fight Wu Yong, while Wu Yong had his own pride, and wanted to deal with both Feng Jiuge and Feng Yuan together. A light flashed in Feng Jiuge's eyes when he saw the killer moves form. Instead of retreating further, he unleashed his long-range palm attacks. Ding, ding, ding. Each of his palm strikes produced a resonant sound. The sound waves vibrated and spread, striking the 6 soft Vajra wind chiefs one after the other. The soft Vajra wind chiefs had an imposing momentum earlier, but they were completely stopped by this immortal killer move of Feng Jiuge. They were even sent back and looked like they were unable to resist the attack. Both Feng Yuan's and Wu Yong's pupils shrunk at such a sight. They were both shocked. Feng Jiuge only had rank 7 cultivation level, but the power of his immortal killer move did not lose to Wu Yong's. Whether it be Feng Yuan or Wu Yong, they could both see that this was because of the extremely abundant amount of sound path Dao marks on Feng Jiuji's body. His sound path Dao mark accumulation was so immense that it was actually on par with Wu Yong. How did he cultivate to this extent? Feng Yuan was endlessly astonished as he observed the battle from afar. The reason he could fight with rank 8s was because of reverse flow protection seal. But Feng Jiuge was able to fight rank 8s because he possessed an extremely deep sound path foundation. When these two were compared, Feng Yuan was naturally inferior to Feng Jiuge. How did he cultivate? Having such a foundation, it is no wonder he was able to fight against Central Continent's 10 ancient sects back then, and has the confidence to fight Wu Yong. Does he truly have this foundation, or is it some temporary method that can only last for a short time? Feng Yuan began to ponder. Naturally, his main attention was still on Wu Yong's immortal battlefield killer move, as well as analyzing and deducing the killer move airlock at the same time. The Shadow Sect Gu immortals inside his immortal aperture were also doing their best at this. Crack, crack, crack. Wu Yong saw that the soft Vajra wind chiefs were ineffective, and activated another killer move that he grasped a thin and long wind whip in his hand and continuously lashed it at Feng Jiuge. The wind whip seemed to have no end to it, and could also be immediately contracted. Every lash could break the air and produce a crisp explosion. Feng Jiuge showed no weaknesses. His left hand sent palm strikes against the soft Vajra wind chiefs, while his right hand clenched into a fist and dealt against the wind whip. His left palm struck the air, every strike bringing with it a long and resonant bell sound. His right fist pummeled in front of him, every fist producing a rumbling explosion like striking a war drum. Dang, dang, dang. Bam, bam, bam. For a moment, Feng Jiuge was actually equally matched against Wu Yong. Even Feng Yuan was almost dazed. The main reason was because Feng Jiuji's Dao marks accumulation did not lose to the rank 8 Gu immortal Wu Yong. How did he cultivate to the point where he was able to go against the common sense of Gu immortal world? The biggest difference between a rank 8 and a rank 7 was the amount of Dao marks in earthly calamity could, on average, give 250 Dao marks, 250, to a Gu immortal. A heavenly tribulation was 750, 750. A grand tribulation was 7,250, 7,250. A myriad tribulation was 86,750, 86750. Dao marks. The difference between the Dao marks of a rank 7 Gu immortal and a rank 8 was extremely huge. While the difference between a rank 9 Gu immortal and a rank 8 was like heaven and earth. This was one of the main reasons why rank 9 was invincible, and rank 8 Gu immortals could crush rank 7's AS Gu immortals advanced further. The amount of Dao marks they gained would increase explosively. Even though everyone knew this, it was simply too difficult to do anything about it. Rank 8 Gu immortal themselves signified higher quantity and quality of tribulations than rank 7. Hence, it was almost impossible for a Gu immortal at rank 7 cultivation to possess a rank 8 Gu immortal's Dao mark accumulation. If not for this, there would have been abundant examples of rank 7 fighting rank 8 in the Gu immortal world. However, Feng Jiuge was able to achieve this. If this is his temporary power-up method which increases his Dao marks, it would be slightly easier to accept. But if he actually has such a Dao mark accumulation, that is too terrifying. Feng Yuan thought to himself while observing the battle that Wu Yong did not get angry at Feng Jiuge being able to fight him equally. Instead, his expression became more calm. Good. Truly worthy of Feng Jiuge. Well then, how about this move? Wu Yong pointed his finger. His fingertip aimed at Feng Jiuge. A crisp sound echoed. A dark jade worm flew out of his fingertip. The small worm shot at Feng Jiuge with an extreme speed. While flying, it grew larger as its body expanded to 10 feet, 50 feet, 150 feet. After a few breaths of time, it turned into a vicious wind dragon that was 220 feet tall, baring its fangs and claws as it showed a ferocious imposingness, as if it was going to swallow Feng Jiu. G.it was Wu Yong's specialty immortal killer move, Finger Wind Dragon. Feng Jiu's pupils shrunk slightly, and he immediately retreated back. Finger Wind Dragon was extremely powerful. Feng Jiu could not face it head-on. Hence he retreated to create some distance and attack from afar. That it could not be helped. Wu Yong's Finger Wind Dragon killer move had rank 8 Immortal Gu as its core. Feng Jiu's Dao mark accumulation was similar to Wu Yong's, but he did not have any rank 8 Immortal Gu. Wu Yong's rank 8 killer move, Finger Wind Dragon, was extremely powerful. Feng Jiu could not face it with his killer moves that used rank 7 Immortal Gu as their cores, or he could use quantity to make up for the quality. Feng Jiu had this idea. He retreated while sending out endless punches and palm strikes, using rank 7 killer moves as he weakened the Finger Wind Dragon until it completely dissipated. But this undoubtedly was an intense burden on Feng Jiu's rank 7 Red Date Immortal Essence. On the other hand, Wu Yong's Immortal Essence was something only rank 8 Gu Immortals had, White Lychee Immortal Essence. Feng Jiu was far inferior to Wu Yong in this aspect. Rank 8 Gu Immortals were stronger than rank 7, not only in Dao marks, but also their other aspects that were of qualitative difference. Immortal Essence was only one of them. Just by using one Finger Wind Dragon, Wu Yong had immediately broken the stalemate, suppressing Feng Jiu. This killer move is dangerous. I can sense the violent strength hiding inside it. I must not let it get close to me. Feng Jiu had an extraordinary perception that Wu Yong had indeed stacked another move on top of this move. It was Chaotic Shooting Blades. Once this move was activated, the Finger Wind Dragon would self-detonate, turning into countless jade wind blades, which would shoot everywhere. The power was terrifying and had shown its might in the Purple Blood River formation. Although it was the first time Feng Jiu saw the Finger Wind Dragon, with his plentiful battle experience, he intuitively sensed this follow-up of Wu Yong. This discovery let Feng Jiu avoid danger, but he became even more passive. He could only retreat while weakening the Finger Wind Dragon with long-range attacks. This gave Wu Yong enough opportunity and time to prepare a new immortal killer move. This was very dangerous. Feng Jiu also knew this, but unfortunately, Finger Wind Dragon was extremely fast and gave him huge pressure, adding on the 6 soft Vajra Wind Chiefs. Feng Jiu was unable to interrupt Wu Yong. This is troublesome. Feng Jiu's brows began to furrow at this rate. The situation would become increasingly disadvantageous for him. Once Wu Yong activated another immortal killer move, it would definitely make Feng Jiu's situation even more unbearable. However, right at this time, a figure suddenly joined the battlefield. Boom! The Finger Wind Dragon directly collided against Feng Yuan's body. Then, it was reflected back by Reverse Flow Protection Seal. The Finger Wind Dragon, which had troubled Feng Jiu for some time, was sent flying back to Wu Yong. Wu Yong, who was preparing a new killer move, immediately frowned deeply. Reverse Flow Protection Seal is truly amazing. It was Feng Jiu's turn to look at Feng Yuan in a new light. Chapter 1390. 4 Clear, Transforming Winds. Reverse Flow Protection Seal immediately showed extraordinary effect. The Finger Wind Dragon was reflected at Wu Yong, but right at this moment, Wu Yong gave a firm shout, his whole body erupting with a powerful aura. The immortal killer move he had been preparing was finally activated. Wind Ghost Sickle Hand. He stretched out his right arm and grabbed towards the Finger Wind Dragon. Almost instantly, with no prior indication, an enormous ghost hand suddenly appeared on the Finger Wind Dragon's body. The ghost hand formed completely by Wind. It was extremely large, grabbing the Finger Wind Dragon like grabbing an earthworm. The ghost hand was pitch black and had long sharp claws that were like 5 sickles. At this moment, as it grabbed down, it looked like it had the power to slaughter immortals. The Finger Wind Dragon gave a miserable cry and struggled fiercely. Several breaths later, it completely broke apart, turning into gusts of wind which soon dissipated. Feng Jiu's expression turned solemn. Finger Wind Dragon was undoubtedly a rank 8 killer move. but Wu Yong's wind ghost sickle hand clearly appeared to be much more powerful. If this hand had grabbed Feng Jiuge, the consequences were too miserable to imagine that if Feng Yuan had not interfered at the crucial moment. Feng Jiuge would still be being chased by the finger wind dragon and would also have to face wind ghost sickle hand. His situation would have been extremely precarious. Wu Yong's expression was similarly unsightly. He had been preparing wind ghost sickle hand for a long while, and had thought of defeating Feng Jiuge with this. But with Feng Yuan's interference, he had no choice but to change the target to finger wind dragon, wasting this great killer move that in fact. Wind ghost sickle hand had a subsequent transformation as well. It was called wind rope, and its ability was to capture Gu immortals. After all, Feng Jiuge was from Central Continent. Wu Yong had spent such a large amount of effort and immortal essence to prepare wind ghost sickle hand, so as to capture Feng Jiuge alive, that if he achieved his goal, he would have gained huge benefits. Firstly, if Wu Yong captured a person like Feng Jiuge alive, it would be a huge boost to his own fame and would have a huge influence on Southern Border's righteous path as well. Secondly, just capturing Feng Jiuge and not killing him would mean they would not have to fall out with Central Continent and Heavenly Court. Finally, after capturing Feng Jiuge, Wu Yong could not only extort him, he could also blackmail Spirit Affinity House and even Heavenly Court. If he could make Heavenly Court compromise and hand over those immortal Gu they took from the Super Gu formation, even if it was just a portion of them, Wu Yong's prestige in the whole of Southern Border's Gu immortal world would definitely rise to unprecedented heights. It could even directly stabilize Wu Clan as the #1 force of the righteous path in Southern Border's Gu immortal world. But now, Feng Yuan had disrupted his plan. These two guys. If I use ordinary rank 7 killer moves, Feng Jiuge could easily resist them and even counterattack. If I use rank 8 killer moves, although I would be able to force back Feng Jiuge and suppress him, I would have to go through Feng Yuan's reverse flow protection seal. If the killer move is reflected, I would be the one to suffer losses. Wu Yong's eyelids twitched slightly at his present situation that it was problematic. He felt a little troubled if he was just facing Feng Yuan. Wu Yong could completely treat him like a sandbag and have full initiative. If he was facing just Feng Jiuge, he could also forcefully suppress the latter. But if he was to face both of them, Wu Yong was troubled. There is not much hope in breaking reverse flow protection seal in a short period of time. This is the first time I am witnessing this move, and I am also not a wisdom path Gu immortal. Maybe Heavenly Court and Longevity Heaven have already researched and made countermeasures against reverse flow protection seal. But the only way now is to continue attacking them until they are unable to cope with the attacks, then find an opportunity to kill them. If there was no opportunity in battle, he would create it himself. Thinking of this, Wu Yong suddenly concealed himself, disappearing from Feng Yuan's and Feng Jiuge's sights. He disappeared. Where is he? Feng Yuan looked at Feng Jiuge. Wu Yong was taking a step back for the sake of advancing further. Feng Yuan's investigative methods were no good, and was simply unable to sense Wu Yong's location. Feng Jiuge also shook his head. He seems to be using this battlefield to hide himself. He could only detect some vague details. Feng Jiuge had just finished speaking, when there was a sudden change in the whole battlefield. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Fierce wind rose from nowhere, making whizzing noises as it moved around the battlefield like formless pythons. Then, wind blades formed out of the wind. Each wind blade carried the piercing power of a rank 8 killer move. They maneuvered around in the air and charged towards Feng Yuan and Feng Jiuge. Good. Feng Yuan was happy instead of startled. His robe fluttered behind as he charged ahead. The wind blades, however, nimbly passed around him and shot towards Feng Jiuge. Wu Yong wanted to get rid of Feng Jiuge first before he dealt with Feng Yuan. This choice was extremely wise, because only Feng Jiuge had the ability to counterattack. Once he was dead or captured, what could Feng Yuan do with just reverse flow protection seal? Feng Jiuge smiled brightly at this. Interesting, I am being treated as a pushover. His tone was not furious. Instead, it had some joy and curiosity. He had never experienced such a feeling. Feng Jiuge sent out punches and palm strikes, destroying the wind blades. But after being destroyed, the wind blades turned into gusts of fierce wind which whizzed around before condensing into new wind blades. The wind blade shot forward continuously and with an increasing amount. Feng Jiuge did not dare to let these wind blades touch him, but despite destroying them as early as possible, he was now in a passive situation. Feng Yuan quickly rushed forward to help. This time, Feng Yuan lingered beside Feng Jiuge. Many wind blades struck Feng Yuan, but were immediately reflected back. However, they did not shoot back at Wu Yong, instead striking back at this battlefield. Although Wu Yong was the controller, he had manipulated the immortal battlefield killer move to send out the attacks. Hence, he was not the direct attacker that Wu Yong became the mastermind manipulator, while Feng Yuan's reverse flow protection seal could only reflect the attack to the attacker. As such, the wind blades could only target this battlefield that Wu Yong, who was hiding in a corner, was inwardly joyous when he saw this, and put in even more strength into the battlefield killer move. Feng Yuan was passively defending, his frown getting deeper as time passed. Feng Jiuge's situation had already turned for the better with Feng Yuan's protection. He thought for a moment before transmitting his voice to Feng Yuan. "Protect me while I prepare a move to destroy this battlefield." Feng Yuan was stunned, before quickly agreeing. Previously, he had already deduced it would be difficult to break this battlefield killer move. It was very difficult to see any effects based on his strength and attainment. On the other hand, it was better to wait for airlock to dissipate and use omnidirectional travel with Bai Ning Bing and the rest to leave this battlefield, so he needed to stall for time to the greatest extent possible. If he let Feng Jiuge fight with Wu Yong alone, Wu Yong would soon gain the upper hand and suppress Feng Jiuge, even getting rid of him, and then be free to deal with Feng Yuan. Feng Jiuge might have rank 8 battle strength, but he was still rank 7 after all. Hence, Feng Yuan came to help. Feng Jiuge began to prepare his killer move. He did not resist, leaving his defense to Feng Yuan. Such trust made Feng Yuan feel a little uncertain. Seeing this, Wu Yong hastened the battlefield killer move even more. The wind blades were unable to do anything to Feng and Feng. Another change occurred in the battlefield. Crackling of thunder could be heard. This thunder was extremely peculiar. Normal thunder sounded like an explosion or rumbling. This thunder, however, sounded bright and sharp, like knocking a gourd on a large 100-year-old bamboo flute. Several breaths later, lightning bolts flickered as they struck down at Feng and Feng. "Careful, this is clear jade lightning," Feng Jiuge warned. Clear jade lightning emitted dazzling blue light. It was extremely fast and emitted such glaring light that Feng Yuan had to close his eyes. He quickly activated his transformation method to change his eyes to dragon eyes. Only then was he able to resist the dazzling lightning. Feng Yuan was actively maintaining reverse flow protection seal, which took almost all of his attention, so he was not able to use ancient sword dragon transformation. But if it was just transforming his eyes, he could still do it. Clear jade lightning struck down. Feng Yuan took it head-on. The jade lightning hit his body and was reflected back, wreaking havoc to the battlefield, but some of the jade lightning struck towards Feng Jiuge. However, these clear jade lightning bolts disappeared without a trace when they had just neared Feng Jiuge. Feng Jiuge was preparing a killer move. He naturally would not fully rely on Feng Yuan and had laid down some defensive methods. Feng Yuan felt relieved at this. He could defend much more calmly now and even counterattack. That Wu Yong saw the lightning did not work and changed the battlefield again. Lightning disappeared. Strong wind weakened and changed into drops of beautiful green water pearls, which then formed a thin drizzle. "Be careful. This is clear jade dripping wind," Feng Jiuge warned once again. This water pearl-like wind sprinkled on Feng Yuan's body, but were similarly reflected back. Feng Yuan was completely safe. Feng Jiuge, however, did not fare well that as clear jade dripping wind neared him. They continued to disappear, but many water drops still landed on his body. Feng Jiuge had defenses all over his body as well. The clear jade water drops splashed on him, producing clear sounds. The water continued to land on him. Feng Jiuge's body seemed to have turned into a human-shaped musical instrument. As delightful melodies echoed continuously, Wu Yong laughed loudly and even revealed himself because he saw victory within his grasp. "My move still has another variation. Its name is Profound Immortal Sound. Feng Jiuge, you cultivate sound path. Why don't you evaluate this move?" As his voice stopped, low murmurs of wind started to resound in the battlefield. The sound of the wind was mild and clear, resounding within Feng Yuan's mind. In an instant, the robe on Feng Yuan started shaking and billowing. Not good. This profound immortal sound has the strongest offensive power among the 4 variation moves. Although I have reverse flow protection seal, I can only protect myself. How can I help Feng Jiuge? Feng Yuan's heart sank that Wu Yang's battlefield killer move was 4 clear, transforming winds. It was created by a rank 8 Wu clan ancestor and was passed down from generation to generation. This 4 clear transforming winds had 4 variations: clear wind blades, clear jade lightning, clear jade dripping wind, and profound immortal sound. That it was Wu clan's trump card killer move with awe-inspiring might, and had helped Wu clan to dominate southern border for countless years.